keeping it KBC. Now, as at yesterday, we had 25 more cases that were confirmed by the CS of Health, Mutai Kagwe, talking of 25 more people being tested positive after 9 more people were tested. This is in regards to the COVID-19 or the coronavirus. So as a nation, most people are alarmed. What next? Where do we go to? Should we expect a lockdown of the nation? That has been headlined in almost all the newspapers this morning. Well, this morning, we'll be talking about the United Nations and how they are helping the government and the people of this country and at large globally in fighting this pandemic, this coronavirus. What is the role of the UN in this, and specifically the UN Habitat? This morning, I am joined by Maimunah Mohammed Sharif. She is the Executive Director of the UN Habitat this morning on The Viewpoint. Karibu sana, Maimunah.
Very good morning, habari ya usubuhi. Thank you. Thank you very much, Ram.
Na habari yako.
Asante sana. Thank you very much for having me here in Good Morning Kenya. Thank you. Yes.
The Viewpoint starts now. Keep texting, keep tweeting. Remember the hashtag as always is Good Morning Kenya. Tag me at Ramaguko. At Jane Ombo is my colleague's handle. At KBC Channel 1 is the official station handle. The hashtag, as always, is Good Morning Kenya. Make sure that you use the SMS line if at all you have, you prefer SMS. 20154 is the number. Start with the word Channel 1. Tell us your name and where you're watching us from. This is a Viewpoint. But now, as we talk about coronavirus, I don't know how are you, helping yourself? How are you fighting this pandemic? Do you have the sanitizers, washing the hands?
Yeah. Yes, Ram. Personally, I've been already working from home since 16th of March this month, and this is actually the first time that I'm out from my house, and all the meetings are virtual meetings, and almost every day 4 or 5 meetings. We are working, even though we are at home, but we're working from home actively together with my colleagues. And at the same time, we are also practicing the health, being the one that been guided by the World Health Organization, especially like washing hands.
Everyone is working with hand sanitizers.
Sanitizer.
I even carried mine here,
I also have mine in my handbag, you see. So, and I have even a video for to inform a colleague, to inform people how to wash hands properly, guided by the World Health Organization. For example, wet your hand, and then it's how you put the soap, and then how you wash your hand, and please, this is the time, as I said, that is for you to even admire your fingers. Because sometimes to wash the hand for 20 seconds, for some people they say that, whoa, 20 seconds is too long.
It's a long time.
It's a long time.
It's a time you should admire how beautiful is your
fingers. Sometimes we take things for granted. just on the lighter part of it. So that's working from home, and then we also practice distance. So now I'm very happy that you are following the guideline of the distance by the World Health Organization. And at the same time, we are working together with our team under the UNCT team, with the government of Kenya, and also with at the global level with the other UN agencies. So we are trying our best to work within the limitation, and trying to also to perform as usual in our day-to-day life. So I think this is what we are practicing now.
How are you doing having your meetings? Because I know being that UN is a global, it looks at the people in a global perspective. Right now, you must be having so many meetings, but how are you handling it?
Yeah, I'm handling it through virtual, through Skype, through Team. So we have Kisco. Like for example, like yesterday, I had 4 meetings, and today, after this, I will have our executive committee meeting virtual, globally, online. at 11 o'clock. Then I will have another meeting at the 5 o'clock. That meeting is together with the United Cities for Local Government, working webinar through online, connecting to all the mayors and the governors and the practitioners globally, and trying to discuss about this pandemic and how they handle the situation at their own country, at their own cities, and how can we learn from each other and document it. Maybe you can make it a practice in the future if hopefully it won't happen again.
Yeah,
you know, but we would like to, yes, but we would like to get the best practices from other cities. And also at 7 o'clock, I have another meeting also online with the World World Enable, dealing with people with the disabled people, old people. It's an association, it's NGOs, and how we can work together with them, because the pandemic is also affect the older people most compared to the young people. And at at 8:40 today, I will be connecting with my Deputy Secretary General in New York. So all online.
All these meetings are online.
Online.
It's interesting how the world is changing, you know.
Yes, yes.
Everything is going, you know, the online way.
And this is also reduce our carbon footprint.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
But let's start from the global perspective.
Yeah.
In your view, I'm looking at the numbers. They're so alarming. So, you know, we have nations that have gone on, you know, total lockdown, and some are even expecting that our country here in Kenya, we might go that way. I don't know what you think about this, but from the global perspective, we have so far over 394,000 people globally that have been affected by this virus. What are your thoughts concerning this global pandemic?
I think this is this COVID-19. As you said, is a global pandemic. They cross-border, cross-national, cross-culture. I think, and it affect the global trade, affect the global economy, affect the global health. I think this is one pandemic that we really have to take very seriously.
Do you think people at some point are not taking it as, you know, seriously as it should be? Because I'm looking at the social media platforms. Some are even making lots of jokes about it.
Yes, I'm a bit sad to witness this, because in globally in many countries they already the government has already given advice, even mandatory instruction. Maybe to, for example, like India now is already announced a lockdown for billions of population. Even in my country, in Malaysia, is already they call it movement control. But still, you can see that people are not, to me, take it very seriously. They are still moving around, but when we talk to them, they have a reason for employment, and also for to go for the small businesses. They still have to go out to do their business. But I think I would like to advise the nationally and also the people in global, in every countries, to take this COVID-19 very serious.
Do you think that at some point the way we are handling it, I've looked at how Italy has really been stricken by it, China, the US, India. Do you think in the global perspective, how these different jurisdictions, these different governments are handling the COVID-19, what would be your recommendation? Do you think that they are handling it in the best way possible? What are your recommendations in addressing how the global, perspective is of the COVID-19?
Yeah, different countries have different situation.
Yes.
Yeah, and different degree of pandemic. But my personal appeal is that take it serious, and then this is real. There's no trial and error. It's not trial and error.
It's life and death.
It's life and death, and every government have to take it very seriously. I remember that the Secretary General is also mentioned in his statement yesterday for the country to really take it very seriously and to cease fire. You know, I mean, is look into the humanity, and I think it's really important for the country to communicate, because sometimes lack of communication and lack of understanding of the disease is also of the virus is also sometimes people say, because you cannot see, you cannot feel it.
You cannot touch it.
Yeah, you cannot touch it. So I think communication and advocacy is also very important to trickle down to every level, the national government, regional government, local government, to the local community. I think communication is very important in this matter.
Looking at communication, in terms of international relations, you know, we have relations between one country and another, the US and China, you know, the relations between all these nationalities and all these states. We need to ensure that we have a lockdown in terms of restricting movement from one country to another. Do we need to go that way? International flights, should they be stopped all at once, regardless of whether someone is stuck somewhere or not? We just tell them that, hey, because of this pandemic, just stay put wherever you are, we'll sort it out later on. But for now, we cut off all international flights. Should we go that direction globally?
I think there are many countries, they done it in gradually.
Yes.
You know, there are, for example, like Kenya, they said, okay, stop international flight, but in 48 hours time.
Yes, yes.
So to get people in when they are traveling on the way, they may at least to get sorted out. I think to cut immediately without any
prior notice.
Prime notice, I think is also is not advisable, because people are traveling. But I think when come to the stage that now, we already been advised not to travel. So I think better take the advice not to travel, because like, for example, like my husband went back to Malaysia before the pandemic.
Okay.
Together with my two daughters, supposed to come back to Kenya on the 28th, stranded. So I said, don't come back. So I said that people have to really take cognizance and take note that if you already mentioned by World Health Organization, no traveling, and the countries already globally has already mentioned that announced that they will cut the international flight. I think we, as a people around globally, don't try to get a ticket to travel. Please stay at home.
Stay at home.
Stay at home. Yeah, because a lot of things you can do at home. You can also communicate online.
Online. Right. So that is the world view. That is her viewpoint in regards to the global pandemic that is hitting the whole world, the coronavirus, also known as the COVID-19. We are taking a short break. We'll be back in a bit. But after this break, we'll be taking a look at how her viewpoint in how the COVID-19 can be dealt with here in Kenya. Remember, we had the call to action that was given by the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres. We'll be quoting him after this break. Do not go too far. The viewpoint continues.
Baba amekuwa mgonjwa, amekonda, hata ana nguvu.
Nakata kwenda hospitali kwa nini? Si nilikwambia tuwezi jua kwa hakika kama ni TB. Mpaka uende hospitali upimwe. Na kama ni TB, unatibiwa kwa hospitali yote bila malipo. Tests unafanywa bila malipo. Madawa unapewa bila malipo. Utaambukiza kila mtu kwa hii nyumba.
Usingoje hadi dakika ya mwisho. Pimwa kwenye hospitali ya serikali. Matibabu inapatikana bila malipo. TB inakinga na tiba.
I don't like your choice of women.
I guess the apple doesn't fall very far from the tree.
I've been dating Glenn.
What?
No, sini judge.
Kuja na chai, please.
It's okay, I can actually take it to them.
Thanks, Anna.
Traditions and norms have to be followed in this family.
Nikusaidia aje?
Nataka kuna Glenn.
Maybe akona one of the many girlfriends.
Usinipime.
Next month, wiki ya kwanza sitakuwa kama eneo hata kidogo.
Itilie chai ukunywe.
Next on.
Mungu wangu, mbona ukumsimamisha? Nilimwambia sirudi.
Chenji yake ni wewe ulimlazimisha Wangshu kwenda kule. Kama jambo baya likimtokea sitakusamehe daima.
Luyuju, nimechoshwa na mambo yako. Unafanya nini?
Sawa, Luyuju, unaweza kwenda.
We, usiende. Hivyo ndio umeomba msamaha.
Imetosha.
Yuko wapi?
Yuko nyuma yetu kule. Nenda kule. Harakisha.
Coronavirus COVID-19 is a respiratory virus spreading across the world. The infection is spread from droplets of coughing and sneezing of an infected person, touching or shaking hands or being in contact with contaminated surfaces or objects with the virus. The signs and symptoms are fever, coughing, headache, body ache, difficulty in breathing. The disease can be prevented by regularly washing hands with soap and running water. Avoid close contact with people who have flu-like symptoms. Avoid handshake, hugs, and kissing. Also, protect yourself by covering your mouth or nose using a disposable tissue while coughing or sneezing. If you experience these symptoms and you had traveled or been in contact with a person from a country reporting COVID-19, you should isolate yourself for 14 days. Dial *719# or call 719. This message has been brought to you by the Government of Kenya and its partners.
There was a call to action by the UN Secretary General, that is Antonio Guterres, to bolster the government's efforts to contain the spread of the coronavirus here, especially here in Kenya. But now, how is the UN helping, in partnership with government to help in this fight against the COVID-19? And specifically, as I mentioned earlier, the UN Habitat. The Viewpoint continues this morning. Remember, keep engaging with us on our social media platforms. The hashtag, as always, is Good Morning Kenya. Tag me at Ram Maguko, my colleagues handle at Jane Wamboi and at Doreen Arange. SMS line 20154 is the number. Start with the word Channel 1. Tell us your name and where you're watching us from. This morning, as I mentioned earlier, I'm joined by Maimunah Sharif, the Executive Director of the UN Habitat. And Maimunah, you mentioned about, we've talked about the global perspective. Now let's come narrowing down to Kenya. And I'd like to quote the UN Secretary General, what he said. And I quote, "All of us face a common threat, the coronavirus, the COVID-19. The pandemic is a call to action for everyone, everywhere. It is also a call for responsibility and solidarity. All nations united as people united. As we fight the virus, we cannot let fear go viral. Let's overcome this common threat together." End of quote. That was he said. He talked about solidarity. He has talked about togetherness. But now, how can we be united in this fight against the COVID-19 and avoid blaming one another, even as a nation, expecting, some expecting the government and, expectations coming in from different sectors? How can we work together and fight this COVID-19?
Yeah, the call by the Secretary General is very clear.
Yes.
That's we have to have a solidarity, togetherness, integrated approach with the government, with the people, and here at a UN, as a UN agencies in Kenya, We are working very closely for UN Habitat, working together with other UN agencies under the UN city, UN country team, with World Health Organization, with UNICEF, with UNESCO, with UNDP, with ICAO and other UN agencies, that we are pulling out our resources together, and we work together with the government of Kenya for Kenya, and for the global, the UN agencies also putting up together our team working with the various government in various countries.
So the UN is also having its role in all of this.
Yes. Like for example, as in Kenya, UN Habitat is part of the UN country team. We work together with the government of Kenya. For UN Habitat, we have already seconded 5 of our officers to the government for Kenya, working together with the government of Kenya, and how UN Habitat can help in terms of giving the advice. Second is in terms of the collecting the data, because now is the best time to get data, because this is the to me is the short-term action, but of course we have to look at the long-term, the post-pandemic. What shall we do? So we are collecting data, and we also have the expertise on the mobility, because mobility is also important in Kenya and also in other countries, and expertise on housing and informal settlement, and also on water and sanitation. And another one is on communication. So we have 5 officers seconded together, working together with the UN country team and the government of Kenya. At the same time, in Kenya, we are also working very closely with the community leaders. For example, with the youth, it's very, very important. We are working with the youth. And we have the program, a small program together with the youth in Matare, putting up the facilities to wash hands.
In Matare?
In Matare. Working is already, daily is around 500 people already now coming to wash hands. At the same time, we also give out the information and the best practices, how they can trying to reduce or not to get attacked by this pandemic. And we also would like to call upon other partners so that we can scale up these facilities, maybe more facilities in Matare and also more facilities in other informal settlement for that matter. So these are the areas, and we are working very, very closely for Kenya, with the government of Kenya, and also in the other region, because through my morning meeting, we had the communication every morning to connect with the office, UN Habitat office in Asia Pacific, in Arab state, in Latin America, and in Africa.
And this is how everyone has their hands on.
Yes.
Everyone is having a role to play.
Yes.
The UN,
yes.
and all the agencies, including the UN Habitat,
yes.
in partnership with the government, the national, and helping the people on the ground. Now, for some people, getting something like water is not quite easy, because we are talking about washing hands. Yet they wake up early in the morning to go to look for that water, to go fetch that water. For example, in the slums, for example, in Madare, where you've been, you mentioned, going there, helping people to, sanitize and, maintain the hygiene that should be maintained based on the government, initiatives that have been put in place. But now water, including other things, is among things that people need. How can we be able to, maintain that high standard of hygiene, yet we lack some of these things? And how is the UN Habitat helping to curb that?
I think this phenomena is not only in informal settlement in Kenya, but it's also in informal settlement in other countries globally. Due to the overcrowding, due to the high density, and due to the lack of basic facilities, this will also incur a lot of challenges. As you said, that is water. And that's the reason why we work within, as I said, within our limitation to at least to provide water for them to wash their hand. Yeah, to also to explain to them this is the way, that is the correct way to wash. I know very much that the challenges that we are facing now. I think that is the immediate action that we can do. But we also not to forget to plan for the long-term planning.
Yes.
That's why in UN Habitat, we together with other UN agencies, we have this program on the resilient community for urban poor. I mean, how can we build resilient community for the urban poor? So this is for long-term planning. But short-term, immediate, we need water. Yeah, that's why I'm also trying to see how we can partner with other private sector of other philanthropies to scale up our effort is ready in the informal settlement. Yeah.
Based on so far the efforts you've put in place, especially on the ground, how are you ensuring that you reach out to the vulnerable people on the ground, everybody who is affected by this pandemic, both directly and indirectly?
We work together with the community. I think that is our UN Habitat's value added, that we can work together with the local community and local leaders and also the youth. We provide, but men by them, by the youth. So I think this is the working together with the community and the young people is very, very important at this time.
And the reception that you get on the ground when you go there, you educate them, talk about hygiene, you give them the sanitizers and the soap and the water, and they wash their hands. How is the reception on the ground?
They ask for more. I think they understand. They understand. They said that one is not enough. We want more. We want more of these facilities.
You should plan to go back.
Yes, we have the program, but we need to partner with other UN agencies and also together with the private sectors and in the government to scale up. We started it, but we need to scale up because I think. What we have is in Matare, but also a request from other informal settlement. So this is very, very important for us, as what the Secretary General mentioned just now, solidarity, togetherness, teamwork. When you talk about, for me, you're talking teamwork within UN agencies and also teamwork within UN agencies, UN Habitat within UN agencies, because we are dealing with, UN Habitat dealing with cities and human settlement.
And he said that we are all facing the same threat, common threat.
Yes.
You've been observing how people are getting to want more. What are some of the loopholes that you've noticed when you go to the people there, and as they continue to sanitize themselves, wash their hands, and with water and soap? What are the loopholes that you've seen that actually need to be looked into that can actually help in taking the country forward?
I think we look at the situation when you talk about informal settlement, as I mentioned earlier, the density, the overcrowding.
Yes.
The house is very near. How can you talking about distancing? If
social
the house
distancing
is the house is from roof to roof, and in one house maybe many people. So I think this is, as I said, linked to the future planning. I think we need to look into how we can include the informal settlement in the overall planning of the cities. That is not now. I think now we are dealing with the COVID pandemic now, but I think in the future, immediately after the post pandemic, the urban planning have to be integrated. We have to include the informal settlement, the informal sector, and also the transportation in an integrated planning. I think this is very important. That's what one of our flagship program in UN Habitat about the resilience for the urban poor. We are looking into the cities as a one DNA, one ecosystem. So I think this is very, very important for us to do the medium term and the long term planning.
All right.
Yeah.
And I'm aware that the UN has assisted in training of county rapid response teams.
Yeah.
How has it been so far with working with those who have been trained?
We we have the capacity building. Actually, the training and the capacity building, we're supposed to have capacity building on the 16th of March with the government of Kenya. And we postponed that due to this COVID-19 pandemic. But we will continue. We are looking into ways maybe we can do it online. And now we have to think differently, the way of working now in terms of training and capacity. I think capacity building and training is very, very important at all levels, not only at the government, also at the local level.
All right.
Yeah.
As we bring this to a close, maybe you can also tell us, in your viewpoint, what do you think Kenya can learn from other parts of the world, from other countries in managing this pandemic?
Yeah, there are other countries when you look into for example, like China, when they mention about lockdown, is totally lockdown.
Yes.
I mean, that is governance and discipline. And that's why they can reduce, quite fast. And you can see that is what is happening now. Even in Italy, surpass the death of China. The one is in Italy. So I think for government of Kenya, we have to look into the other countries in terms of governance, in terms of technology, and in terms of innovation, and also in terms of communication and discipline. I think this is important. That's why on my side that I will have this afternoon webinar discussion. I will get the feedback from how the other countries, the other cities, the other mayors are doing. And definitely I will share with the team that is working together with the government of Kenya. Then we can learn and can relearn. Because the government of Kenya is also doing very, very, very well. And you see that is immediately the Ministry of Health is already mentioned all the steps have to be taken. And I think today they are going to announce something also today. It's mentioned yesterday.
Yes.
So I think this is, but the most important thing is that we have to have a self-discipline, and you have to be together, and to be solidarity, teamwork, and because the virus, they don't know whether you are Kenyan, you are Malaysian, you are Italian, you are different countries. Yes.
It doesn't select.
Yes, they don't select. So I think we have to be together in this, fighting this virus.
And through this, we get the short, mid, and long-term solutions that are there.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for sharing your viewpoint this morning. I was with Maimunah Mohamed Sharif, the Executive Director of the UN Habitat. Asante sana kwa kukuja.
Thank you. Asante sana.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Keep texting, keep tweeting. The Viewpoint ends now. Remember, we are back after this break. Do not go too far.